Hey guys, this is Chris. Welcome back. This is video number 2 for the Hubsan H123D, the X4 jet. Um, Many of you may have seen the video I did yesterday. It's quite a long video, the introduction to it, but hopefully you got something out of that. I tried to cover as much as possible and do a comparison with the jet and to give you a little bit of brief information using the HT011A since they include that in the manual. But what we're going to do today is we're basically just going to go through, and I'm just going to use the quick start guide. Hopefully when you get yours, you should get a quick start guide and a proper manual. I got this so early on that the manual wasn't even done yet, but they did have the quick start guide. If you have Hubsan products, you really probably won't even need this, but just browse it and go through it just to be sure you're not missing anything, and just to educate yourself a little bit. But first, right on from the start, they go right into binding the aircraft. And what you want to do there, and if you own a Hubsan, pretty much any model, most of these procedures are going to be the same as what you do with the other models. That's one thing. Hubsan does keep it very, very similar, and something that you can take from one quad to another when you do these procedures. So what you're going to do, in this case, you're going to hold the left stick down to bind and press and hold the photo button. Since it's not spring loaded in the HT012A, you don't have to hold it down. Just push it down and then press and hold the photo button. Turn it on. Goes into system initializing and then bind to plane. At that time, plug in the quad, and you're going to want to watch the back lights. They flash, and you get FPV on the screen. So now you're bound to the quad, and the lights are now solid. So now you're perfectly bound, and then the other thing you want to do, fresh out of the box, and with this being a racer, you're going to crash it, you're going to bump into stuff, you're going to bang it around. You want to do the horizontal calibration, which is the very next thing they cover in the quick start guide. What this is basically is it's your IMU calibration, and you want to do it always on a flat level surface. What that does is basically it sees that as level, and then it takes your PNR values, which you can see here on the screen. Mine are already at 0, but it takes your pitch and your roll and resets the values. So if you have it on a level surface and you reset those values, it's going to fly accordingly. If you're doing it on a crooked surface, it's going to see those PNR values as level. It's going to reset them, and it's going to see that as level when it flies, and it's going to fly accordingly. It's going to fly like trash. So to do that, it's real simple. Just like some of the other models, you hold it over to the right. Your left stick you hold to the right, and then you take your right stick and just toggle it, and then again watch the lights on the back here. Let go. They're flashing. And it's done. So if my PNR values were off, you do that calibration on a level surface, and it'll reset them to 0, sees that as a level surface, it'll fly so much smoother. So that's how you do that, and then next you go into taking off and landing, and just like every other model, you're going to take both sticks, pull them down to the outside, okay, and then to turn them off, outside, and then they shut off. So that's how you takeoff and land, or actually, you know what, why don't they just, yeah, they're giving you a combination of start and takeoff, and then you're landing. So obviously you're going to throttle up to take off and you're going to throttle down to land. Just remember with this quad, it's pretty aggressive. When you go to land, you're going to want to do this very slowly to bring it down. If not, you're just going to drop it. Next, then it shows you the binding to the HT011A. That alarm was when I turned off the transmitter. It had no signal. Alright, so when you want to bind it to this transmitter, what you're going to do is you're going to take the left stick, hold it down, and then you're going to press the bind button, and then you're going to power on. I didn't hold it long enough. Okay, 2.4 gigahertz is flashing. Plug in the quad. Now 2.4 gigahertz is locked. And the lights are done flashing now. So right now we're bound with the transmitter. Now with this transmitter you have no FPV, so you're going to need an FPV screen or if you're flying with goggles. So I have not bound this yet, so let's go ahead and try that. You're going to turn that on. Then you're going to press and hold the CE button. It says CE on the side right here. Press and hold that. Beeps. And no FPV. Let's see here. Get a little closer to it and see if it does anything. Okay, it says manual mode. Let's see a picture. All right, we got a picture. So there you have it. Now I have not hooked it up to that yet. So let's just see lag. And I'm glad to see so far no lag. Seems to be pretty good. Yeah. So you have FPV now, and it doesn't cover this in the manual. And again, Hubsan, please just sell these together. I mean, selling this without the FPV, it just seems goofy to me. So I understand this is sold for the H501A, but many people use the standard and the advanced transmitters with that H501A. So offer a combination. Offer this to be sold with that as a professional package or something like that. And you can use it on any quad after that. This is a great transmitter. I mean, it gets very good range. It's kind of got that DJI style if you're a DJI fan. And then with these extra antenna, the Omway and the Alpha that I have, it gets pretty decent range with the 501 model. But anyhow, then it tells you how to do the horizontal calibration. It's the exact same thing. You're going to hold this stick to the right and you're going to toggle left and right and it's going to flash. We don't need to do that again. And then it shows you the takeoff and land, so we'll arm the motors. Now, I just made the mistake. Remember, this left stick is not spring loaded. So here's what's going to happen. As soon as I let off the stick, it just wants to take off. So that's the difficulty of flying a racer style or racer with this type of transmitter, is you always have to hold that stick down. As soon as you bring it up to let off, it's going to go to medium to the middle, which is about 50% throttle, and that sucker's taken off. If you're in a wide open field and you want to go at that speed and just work the right stick, it's probably fun to fly, but I don't know. I don't recommend it. So, disarm the motors, pull both out, and disarmed. And then you have just the basics of getting to know it. And then I've already covered this in my other stuff, but we'll show you. You've got your little micro there for updating firmware. Hopefully we don't need to do that for a while. And then you got your little SD card slot, little micro slot over here on that side. It points those things out. It just points out the other things like the camera. You can change the angle on it. You can point it down, or you kind of want to have it pointed up a little bit because you're going to be flying pretty much like that. And then it goes over all the different things of the transmitter. It's all pretty self-explanatory. Both transmitters have the same type of functions. These are both their newest transmitters. This one is sold with the Jet, but both of them have Sport Mode 0, Sport Mode 1, Sport Mode 3, which is acro. Same goes right here. Sport Mode 0, Sport Mode 1, Sport Mode 2 is acro. Why it's 0, 1, 2, I don't know. I always end up saying 0, 1, 3 or something like that. It should just be 1, 2, 3, but whatever. And then we have the expert and manual modes on this side. Put that up. It's not switching over to expert mode. Not sure why. Wonder if I have to have it running for that. Nope, still says manual mode. Something to look further into, but that's what that does. That's your manual and expert mode. Same here, manual and expert mode right here. Okay. The rest is all simple. If you're an American hand, this is your throttle, and there's forward and left and right, and then this is your turning. I guess so nobody corrects me, I'll call them by the correct term. This is your elevator and rudder, and then this is your throttle and aileron, just to be politically correct. You have your trim buttons here. You don't have trim buttons here. So that's one thing you don't have. You want to do stick calibrations. Do they cover that in the book, in the guide? No, they do not. Yeah, they don't cover how to do stick calibrations. So let's do stick calibrations. Turn off. And unplug. Shut up. Alright, so for stick calibrations, here's what you do. Hold the sticks up in the upper left, power on. Then you're going to move the sticks all the way around. Alright, sorry about that. I had to pause and go double check how to do a stick calibration on the HT011A. When I got it, I didn't have the directions to tell me how to do a stick calibration on it. So I had to kind of figure it out, and I forgot how to do it. But Hubsan, if you're doing a manual or a quick start guide that takes you to the point of explaining horizontal calibration, it's probably a good idea to add stick calibrations in there as well. You've got binding, you've got the horizontal calibration. Stick calibration is pretty important. I would suggest adding that to the quick start guide. That's probably what most people refer to. A lot of people don't read the manual. I know that from my group, but wouldn't hurt to add it to this as well. So how to do it now with the HT011A. Take both sticks, hold them in the upper right, press the power on until you see the blue lights at the bottom all flashing. You're going to take the sticks and you're going to move them around. Hit every axis point. And then you're going to long press, hold the LED button until it beeps. I don't know if it still shows up on here, but I had that turned off. And you can see my sticks. Everything is nice and centered, so we got a good stick calibration on the HT011A. That's how you do the calibration. And I know everyone has already seen how to do a stick calibration on the standard transmitter, which looks just like the HT012A, but we'll do it real quick in case you're new to this. Hold them in the upper left hand corner, turn on, goes into calibration stick mode 2. If you want to do stick mode 1, you're going to hold them in the upper right hand corner. Stick mode 2, they also call that American hand. That puts the throttle here on the left. So what we're going to do is we are going to hit every axis point again, just like we did on the other one, and move them around, and then press and hold any button to finish. And everything is nice and centered. You'll see that my sticks aren't moving 100%. Now they are. That changes depending on what mode you're in. So that's how you do the stick calibrations, the IMU horizontal calibration, binding to different controllers, and the FPV screen. And I think we covered everything that they have in here, but again, they did not cover in the quick start guide anyhow how to do a stick calibration. They go over the basics of both of these as far as what the sticks all do, which is the same as any other quad, as far as your elevator and rudder and your throttle and aileron. And as I already showed you before, you have the micro SD card, micro USB for updates, and to do the props, they just set right in place with 2 screws. So you have a screw there and you have a screw there, and that's how you take them on and off. I don't have the screwdriver with me, but let me go grab it real fast. Okay, so here's a little handy Phillips screwdriver Hubsan gives you. The thing I want to see is if all the threads are the same, or if they have any reverse threads. Given that there's 2 screws side by side right here, I think they all should be normal thread. Yeah, this is loosening, clockwise for tightening. And then this one, yep, loosen. They're all the same. Actually, kind of loose too. I should probably tighten them all up. So yeah, all the screws are your normal thread. None of them are reverse thread. I'm going to take one of the props off so you can take a quick look there. That's all there is to it. You have extra holes for your screws, so if you strip 2 of them out, you can move them. That's nice. And then who knows, maybe somebody will have additional type props that you can use with this where it is a 4 screw. I don't know, but that's good. You have an option to switch holes. I think they're all threaded. I mean, 2 of them will hold a pin, but I think they're all threaded. If I'm boring you now, you can tune out, but this is This is the type of stuff that I always question in my mind. Let's check all the holes out. Okay, that one's threaded. And the one next to it. God, I hate these tiny screws. Yeah, so all 4 holes are threaded. That's great. So if you strip 2 of them out, you just rotate the prop and you use the other hole. But if you notice here, the holes that you're not using, you can't see it, but there's tiny little pins. Maybe if I put the white behind it. Now you can probably see. There's tiny little pins that fall into the 2 holes that you're not using. So that's good. If I can get them back in there. So they're back in there. So then your screws go in the other 2 alternative holes. All right, so that's it. One last thing I want to point out or mention is now that we have this transmitter for the jet with this type of throttle, your different modes, I'm hoping that it brings a little more fun into this guy. It's just not that great to fly. Without any type of acro mode or anything like that, it's not that fun to fly. I don't know at this point if Hubsan is ever going to give it a firmware update to give it some sort of acro mode ability. But if they did, give it a firmware upgrade or update to where you could put it into the same modes with these buttons instead of the little tiny transmitter buttons and functions you have to do for the different modes on it. The only other thing it has now is it goes into a different power range where you get a little better signal for your control and your FPV. It'll extend that range a little bit. It's a booster basically. That's the only other mode that this thing really has right now. So if they were to update the firmware on this, it's still a brushed racer or wannabe racer, but it would be nice if they would update it to where it would work with this and share the same type of features that the jet has. So that's just something I'm throwing out there. Probably a pipe dream, but never hurts to say it. Hopefully, if I recommend it to Hubsan, hopefully they'll give us an update and make this thing a little funner than what it actually is. And now that I'm done with this video, I can take this out and fly it more. I can take my sticker off the lens and I can crash it and break it and do whatever I want with it because I've done my videos. And hopefully I don't crash it too soon and break it to where I can't show any type of flight videos. So all my flights with it, I'm going to have an SD card in it and record the flights, and then I'll wear my hat with my action camera on it, and hopefully I'll do a good job of filming. Normally when I'm flying and I'm filming, I only get about 50% of the video with the quad in it, even though I have a wide angle lens. I don't know, I get distracted. But anyhow, that's it, and thanks for watching, and make sure you subscribe for future content, and take care.